Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Conejo Recreation and Park District Board of Directors to order. And if we could have, Mark, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mark. Could we have the roll call, please?
Director Huffer.
Yes.
Director Lang.
Here.
Director Cusworth.
Here.
Director Nichols.
Yes.
Director Buss.
Here.
Thank you very much. Item 3, items from the public. I don't see any public in person, nobody online. All right, item 4, approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Director Nichols.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to pull item 7C from the consent calendar.
Okay, all right. So with that modification, that's your motion.
And then
that modification.
if the board is in agreement, make that a motion to approve.
All right, well, we have a motion. Do we have a second to that? Director Lang? Any questions or discussion? If not,
Why are we pulling it?
we're gonna have.
Oh,
Yes, it's for separate discussion, not that we're not going to cover it, for separate discussion.
Okay, if there's nothing further, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to go into closed session. Mr. General Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Huffer, members of the board. We do have 3 separate closed session items for this evening. One dealing with a variety of litigation and claims, another dealing with workers' comp claims, and another dealing with general manager performance eval. So for good order, I'm going to read the sections that we're going to go into closed session under. So for the litigation, it's existing and pending litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54-956.9. Case Smith versus Conejo Creek Equestrian Park et al., Hernandez versus Lyft et al., Pettinelli versus CRPD, and Yahiro versus CRPD. Workers' compensation claimants pursuant to Government Code Section 54-956.9 and 54-956.95. A variety of CRPD employee workers' comp claimants. And also the third is Government Code Section 54-957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation General Manager. Guessing somewhere around a half hour if we go fast.
We will go fast, right?
Yes.
All right.
So we'll return in about a half hour.
All right, so we are back in session. Item 6 on our agenda, special presentations, information technology. Mark?
Good evening, Chair Huffer, members of the board. I was worried for a minute that I'd scared everyone off and everyone went home, but thank you for coming back. I was anxiously waiting for this. So it's been a while since I have spoken to you and told you what we've got going on in information technology. So here's a quick look at CRPD's IT by the numbers. Right now we have 202 managed devices. That does not include employee-owned devices or unmanaged devices such as printers and switches and whatnot. So those 202 devices are basically computers, laptops, surfaces, things like that. We have 165 end users using Office 365. We have on average 45,000 emails a month that we process, 77 security updates a month from Microsoft, and that number is increasing rapidly, which is kind of the focus of this presentation. This was an interesting stat that I pulled on our wireless usage. We have over 3,100 independent wireless users on our public Wi-Fi monthly on average. I thought that was a pretty interesting statistic. Right now, we have about 3 terabytes of active files in our file directory structure in our SharePoints that we use. That is rapidly growing. And we currently have 3 terabytes of archived files. So what we've done is we've actually taken the common stuff and I've asked staff to say, hey, can we, is there some files we don't need quite as often? And we move those to our archive. That's also rapidly growing. And we now thankfully have 3 IT staff, which I'm very grateful for. To kind of keep all this stuff running. So, but let's get to the meat of the presentation, which is security. So what we're going to talk about is these are the kind of the core components. I'm going to quickly go through each one and kind of show you how the IT department is keeping the district safe from nefarious activities. Multi-factor authentication, antivirus, malware protection, anti-spam, intrusion prevention, change control, mobile strategy, data loss, software patching, and employee policies and training. So let's take a closer look at the first one, multi-factor authentication. We're all familiar with this. It's basically you're challenged not only to put a password in, you have to authenticate with a device, or you can use your face or your thumbprint or whatever that is. We've been rolling this out district-wide as appropriate. It just adds another layer of protection. And the key to this, though, is with a lot of this, and you're going to hear this as a recurring theme, is balance. Is finding balance in a lot of these security protocols and things that we're implementing. The second thing that we're doing is antivirus and malware protection. This is our good old virus scanner from back in the day. It has evolved significantly, as you're about to see in the next couple slides, but we standardize on Microsoft Windows Defender. This comes with Office 365. It's packaged with it, so it's included in our licensing that we have, and that's our basic endpoint protection for workstations and laptops. It does real-time scanning and alerts, and the big thing, though, is and actually the biggest threat that we are encountering is the social engineering. Jim is not asking you to get $500 in Amazon gift cards when you get those emails. That's the kind of stuff that we're up against nowadays, and that's the most common types of threats. And so that's what the malware protection is doing. That's what your antivirus is doing, and things like that. But like I mentioned, there's a lot more to it. So anti-spam and email filtering. Spam, we're getting thousands of phishing emails a month. George knows that very well. We get them all the time. And that is, again, it's that social engineering. They're trying to convince you to click on something. And basically, this is just like I pulled like a week's worth of data here, and you can see these are all the phishing attempts that we had on our system. And it's just nonstop. Basically, the gist of this, though, is to just know your sender, hover over those links before you click on them. And please, always ask us. That's what we educate people. Just ask. IT department is here to help you. We're here to support you. If you have questions, just ask us on those types of things. Intrusion prevention, this is a huge thing for the IT staff. This is kind of our bread and butter now. With the Office 365, with the Microsoft Defender platform, we're able to get real-time data on incidents, threats, things that are people that are probing into our system, viruses that get loose on our system and things. We've never had this kind of visibility before. So these are just a sample of some of the charts and things. And one of them I'm just going to point out is that you'll see secure score down there, kind of in the middle and the bottom. So Microsoft actually kind of found a way to gamify this whole security thing. And so you get points based on various things that you have switched on or off in your environment. And so you'll notice our score is 59.53. A typical organization of our size is 41. So we're doing pretty good. We're 18 points higher than a typical organization. And I will just point out, though, that it's virtually impossible to get to 100 because you're, again, balance. You don't want to, if you tranked everything up to 100, then no one would be able to get any work done. So it's finding the balance between having adequate security and too much security in all of our systems, really. And so that's kind of the crux of the matter, is that finding that balance. Change control. So as you saw, like in that very first slide, we have over 200 devices and we keep adding more. Everyone wants a Surface. Everyone wants a laptop. Everybody wants to use their phone to do stuff. There's all kinds of things going on. And so how do we monitor that? How do we control that? Intune is what we use. And that's, again, part of the Microsoft security suite that we're using. That is called Intune. And that's what manages this. It allows us to control these district issued devices. It flags devices if they're out of date. It alerts us if they're infected. We get all kinds of different, and you can see where, like it says down there, like compliance. So that's letting us know that the policies are running correctly on there and everything is working as it's intended. If it's not, it'll turn red and we know, and we can monitor it and see, and we get an alert. We can tackle that individual workstation. So you're probably wondering, what about non-district issued devices? You know, your cell phones, your computers at home. So we also have implemented a mobile strategy that basically, how are we doing this? What we're doing is we're monitoring login activity. So through, again, the Windows Defender product, what we can do now is we can actually keep an eye on all the logins that come in. And when we get suspicious logins, that's when we step in and say, hey, wait a minute, you know, Jim's not in Bermuda this week. He's right here in the office. I just saw him down the hallway. What's going on? Something's not right. And so it's very behavior driven. And so that's what we're looking at. We're scanning daily, looking at these charts and graphs and things that pop up to looking for suspicious activity, actively hunting down these types of things that are suspicious to us, that are not typical. And so that's where we do that. But the next part is what happens when things inevitably do go wrong? Because, you know, people are people. We're going to get infections. We're going to have things happen. That's where our data loss prevention comes into play. And that's basically backups, backups, backups. So I like to tease. I tell Melissa all the time that I have backups of our backups that are backed up to a backup in a backup. And it's not far from the truth. So I like to keep copious amounts of backups of our data. Our Microsoft 365 is the main product that we use now in the district for email, you know, your Word documents, word processing, all of those types of things. That's all in the cloud. It's backed up through Microsoft, but that's not enough for me to sleep at night. And so we have a product called Spanning that we use that actually replicates all of that Office 365 data and keeps that secure. We have the data that's in our SharePoints is backed up offsite to another location. We have our archive data that's backed up internally to another drive, and then that's backed up offsite to data. And basically what we're doing with all this is we're just creating different firewalls in between the different segmented data so that, you know, if something happens, if you get cryptoed with our, you know, someone downloads something, they get cryptoed and the files are all locked here at the office, I have backups in the cloud. I can pull it down. We can restore. We're back up and running. That's kind of the goal with the data loss prevention. Software patching, as you are all aware, is critical to all of this as well. So we have a wonderful product that we call Datto, and that actually automates the software patching process. So it enables us to go through the list of Microsoft's patches and other products that we use as well and say, okay, we're going to approve this, approve that, approve this, push it out to all of our district workstations and laptops, and they update automatically at night. And then when people come in next morning, no one knows the wiser, but they're all running on the latest version of the software. And that's critical with these security updates that Microsoft is pushing out almost daily now. We're seeing them now. It's absolutely critical. Datto also enables us to do remote support. So if a staff member at Borchard is having an issue and we're all at Hillcrest, we can remote into their workstation, help them fix the problem without even having to get up from our desk and to, drive over there and take the time to do that. So it's a huge efficiency time savings for us. And of course, last and certainly not least is employee policies and training. So communication is the key. And it's a two-way street. So while in IT, we're sending out alerts to staff, we're educating them, we're implementing policies to keep everybody safe. We also depend on our staff to ask questions to the IT staff. Ask those questions. Hey, I got this email. It just doesn't feel right. Is this good or bad? And then notifying us of any suspicious behavior, and our staff are really good at doing that. Saying, people call me all the time or shoot me an email, Mark, something's not right with this. Can you look at it? Yeah, I'd be happy to look at it. That's what we're here for, to look at it and check it out. And we look at it and we say, oh, that's fine. Or no, it's not. Thank you for doing that. And basically, to summarize, it's a team effort working together to secure all of our IT resources. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions for Mark? Yes, Director Lang.
Yes, Mark, have we ever had a foreign country, quote unquote, try and get into our system?
Yes,
mean-
we have. Yes, it actually happens. I don't know if it's quite daily, but it's certainly weekly, maybe monthly. We have intrusion. Yeah, we can see logs. So typically what happens in those instances is someone's trying to log into Jim's account or your account or my account or something. And because of our security we have in place, the vast majority of the time they fail. They're just trying to brute force guess your password is what they're trying to do. And that's how they try to get in. And we've implemented, we've really been working hard to get people to, use better passwords, to do better with the two-factor authentication certainly helps with that as well. But also now with these new security things that we've implemented, and this we've implemented like in the last year or so, this has really given us in IT a whole new world of visibility to seeing what's going on.
If some other rec and park district or department in a city gets, come on, George, what's the right term, intrusion and so forth, and they find a weakness in this particular rec and park program, do they have the capability of then looking at all rec and park?
Absolutely. So yeah, that's a big thing that happens is, so there's these bad guys that are just probing in various places, and a lot of government agencies especially tend to use a lot of the same software. They use the same programs. And so there's vulnerabilities for sure in a lot of different aspects. And so again, so that's why we're constantly on hyper alert with the patching, making sure that, because the software vendors like Microsoft in particular is very forward thinking in stomping that out. They get word that, someone found a way in through this, whatever, they're going to release a patch for that they're going to release to everyone else and notify us, and we get notified, and then we can push that out to all of our systems so that we're secure as quickly, as efficiently as possible.
Thank you.
Yes, Director Nichols.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Mark, for the review. I think I understood most of the words you were saying,
Good.
or acronyms or a combination thereof. One thing I was wondering is you talked about personal devices. I know I have a personal cell phone that I use to conduct Park District business. Got an Outlook app on my phone to conduct that. With the security that you have built in, how do you make sure that your system is secure from whatever might have or does or is infecting my cell phone, that it doesn't cross over? And likewise, if something comes into my Park District account, how do I keep that separate so that they don't get into all my personal information? Is that also part of the system?
It is, and it is actually very challenging because I can't see what you're installing on your cell phone. So I don't know. You might, get a personal email that has a virus or a malware or something and get infected on your device. And next thing you know, you open your Outlook completely unaware and it can worm its way in that way. And then next thing you know, you're sending out emails asking Jim for those gift cards, right? So it certainly does happen. But a lot of these systems that I discussed here earlier, those are what are alerting us to that, so that we're being alerted. But to answer more specifically your question with the device, so it's difficult. It is very challenging for us. I can't see, for privacy reasons, I can't see what software you have on your home computer, your phone. I can't see those things. All I know is you have our district email on your phone. And so that it is definitely a potential avenue for, bad guys to get in. But with a lot of these systems that we've put in place, we're aware of it now. So we can see it. So then I can reach out to you, say, Doug, I think you got something going on here. Let's take a look at it. Let's figure this out. And we can also, one of the things maybe I didn't mention is we can also isolate devices with these systems as well. So if you are infected, I can say, okay, Doug's phone is infected. I can isolate your phone from all of our other systems so you can't get in. And that's more critical with like our workstations at the office because people do get infected.
Sure.
And I can take them and put them in a box and keep them secure from everything else that we do.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? I just had two questions. Have the security systems you have in place, is there a way of knowing that someone tried to attack us with ransomware, but we managed to stop it?
Well, actually, yes, there is. There are reports that we have that show threats that were stopped. Yes, we do actually have that. Yes, we do. Yes, and it does catch a lot now. It has caught, we have not been cryptoed in a very long time. So yes, we do see that. Knock on wood. Yes, we do see that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And then I guess one of my concerns, just because I use computers all the time at home, but I'm very religious about doing all the updates that Microsoft sends, but I keep wondering, with all of these bad guys out there, is there absolutely 100% no way that the bad guys can somehow get into Microsoft and use one of their updates to then get into the systems?
No, I couldn't say that. No, that's definitely, it's possible. Sure. There's no 100% secure. We're basically, it's a cat and mouse game. And so, the bad guys figure out something and then we patch it and then they figure out something else and then we patch and then and it is, I imagine that they have hopefully very strict security standards at Microsoft with their patching, but
one would think so.
you would
yeah.
hope,
That
but
would ruin their business if someone.
yeah, it would be a severe incident. And so the response from Microsoft and probably many government agencies, because everybody's pretty much using Office 365 nowadays, the response would be severe and swift to fix that and mitigate it.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we do is, again, it's having those multiple layers, having multiple backups in the event of something going wrong, so that it's just mitigating those types of, worst case scenarios that could very well happen.
And then one last thing, I remember reading somewhere last year or two that, all these viruses and other things that are trying to attack the systems, and you mentioned that the biggest weakness in a system are the people, and that you try to educate them. But I know that there are companies or systems out there that you can basically test the employees, send out something that's not going to cause any damage, but if they reply to it, then you say, you might notice that this is a problem or that's a problem.
We do have that capability. I have not done it yet, but we do have that capability. So we may do that in the future as a educational tool. It is, because it is valuable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do have that ability. We have that in Microsoft actually has that ability, but also our HR, there's like programs, and we have done some of the training with through HR with that as well. We've done like cybersecurity training and things where they kind of walk you through scenarios, and then if you click the wrong button, it's try again, kind of thing. So we have done some of that.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it in like the live environment where it goes out, because I could do it where I could send an email to like make it look like a live email from staff, and and they click, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've really worked hard to educate our staff and train them to notice those, suspicious emails, because there's tells in all of them. And if you get complacent and just click happy, then that's when you start getting in trouble. It's when you question, why would Andrew send me an email about some park thing that I have nothing to do with? That's not, you start to kind of put the string together and you're like, wait, something's not right here. And then so those are the types of things that we're educating on.
Good. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for your patience and waiting for us to
course.
return. So,
Thank you very much.
and thank you for keeping the fire burning. I
Thank you.
appreciate that too. All right, so the second item under special presentations be the general manager year in review.
Oh, thank you. Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Huffer and members of the board. Year in review is a tradition that we've kind of started going, and my, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago when I started this with the cool PowerPoint, and my slides seemed pretty techy now. And then I watched the marketing presentation last week, and I definitely need to up my game. But that it's not happening tonight. I'm doing my traditional slideshow because that's what I know and can do. Before I actually get into the slides, which are a lot of the fun stuff, I do want to cover some of the, maybe it's not as fun, but it's really important stuff. And I'm looking at Melissa, because a lot of what she does in administrative services management services isn't something we can take photos of. Nobody's around with a camera, taking pictures of what she does. So I'm going to hit some money things on just this slide, and then I'll get into the more fun stuff that Rochelle and Andrew get involved with. But over this past year, we updated our financial reserves and our reserve policies. We updated our fees and charges. We did an MOU with SEIU. We adopted our capital and our operating budgets, including updating our engineers reports. We applied, and this is actually an Andrew thing, but we applied to the state of California for a $10 million resiliency grant for the Conejo Community Center. That's, kind of a long shot, but we're willing to take it because of the significant money involved. And then just last, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, we were at the Conservancy Board, and I don't think I actually formally sent out an email or anything, but thanks to Melissa paying close attention, knowing some folks over there made us aware of, and we were able to apply for a $1 million grant with the Conservancy for fire resiliency that we actually received. So great news just from a couple weeks ago. So kind of moving away from, just dollars and onto some of the substantive things that we were involved with during this past year. We often don't get to show a slide of the Silver Starlight Ball because it happens in the second or third week in December, and usually this year in review has already happened. So this year, even though this happened in December of 2022, I wanted to take a shot of the Silver Starlight Ball that we do in the Teen Center, and that's coming up next week. And that's a great event, and that couple in the foreground look like they're having a good time dancing. This is a slide just to remind everyone how great of a rain year we had. It was beautiful and green, and we kind of broke out of that drought routine that we had gotten into. You guys probably remember this, and going through the transition to by division election. So we went through that multi-meeting process to come up with, develop the maps and create divisions for the directors that will experience for the first time this year, this coming year in 2024. And then something that I know has been brought up, over the years is the idea of having kind of a rec van, a little bit of a back to the future. It's been done in the past, and the communities we're working with, it seems more and more applicable to bring stuff to those communities. And so Rec's been doing stuff with the cool rec van, bringing recreation to some of the parks that don't have centers, but we think has a population that'll enjoy the stuff we have to offer. Again, kind of a little bit chronological. In February, one of the best programs, I think, I just love it, the Conejo Theater for Everyone, combining Mark and cultural's extreme talents with the special needs population and their talents. It's such a great show. And then in spring, Chair Huffer was recognized by the Ventura County Special Districts Association as the Director of the Year for Special Districts. That's kind of a cool honor, and was recognized at the Channel Islands Yacht Club. So that was kind of cool. Oop. Oh, right. We're on this. And then we did the teen and the senior center, right? So I have 2 1-minute videos to show you. Goofy looking senior in those shots. So that was a little video of the senior center, and now I'm gonna go on to the teen center. So here we go, another 1-minute video just of the improvements, and they were done, in 2022 and 2023. We, as you guys all know, opened them in early 23. So those were 2 big projects that we were able to do. And as you guys all know, because I think you were all there, we had a really fun grand reopening of both those facilities, and pretty much got, I think, 80%, 90% of the elected officials representing this area there. It was really, really fun. And then just kind of a shout out to the rec side of their commitment to the unplug and trying to find your outlet that's not necessarily technology driven. Like, what can we do without using our phones and without the computers? And so, no offense to our friends at the IT world, but part of life doesn't involve a computer. So we're trying to remind people of that, and rec does a great job with that. Our part-time service awards, we have some awesome people doing great stuff for us, and it's nice to recognize them. This is just a reminder that we went into spring last year, like it was tough hiring for a bit. Like we had a hard time finding folks. And so I can't remember the last time we were doing walk-in interviews where basically it's just like people come on in, you know, really beating the bushes to try to get, you know, mostly the young folks, the kids, like, hey, we're a great place to work. And so we were able to kind of fill positions, and we were pretty stable by the summer, but it was an interesting spring trying to fill some positions. And then this was the big year. We had 8 playground projects. I'm going to try to remember which is which. And Andrew, you can yell at me if I'm wrong, but Banyan are the Bobcats, right? Suburbia? Yes, Suburbia is kind of a dinosaur theme.
Two.
Yep, and that's Sycamore. So I'm doing pretty good. And then later in spring, CARPD, our California Association of Recreation and Park Districts, got together and they elected a brand new president, and it happens to be Director Nichols. So he's the president of a statewide association of rec and park districts. So there's Doug getting sworn in. And then, you know, as you guys remember, we did the gratitude circle and we got to recognize some great people, Scott and Susan and Brian. So that was a fun afternoon in May. And then you guys remember this? George was the only one that understood you had to be there at a time certain. And the rest of us just felt like you could stroll in at any other time. So George got the honor of cutting the ribbon and being in the shot. I love this shot. I just think it's really cool. But we opened that cricket pitch. That was fun. And then this is something our friends at the city have really blown up. It's they're you know, we do the summer concerts starting, you know, Memorial Day through Labor Day. But they're picking up a bunch of weekends, like, and weeknights during June is, I think, their big month. And they're doing, I think, eight, you know, shows in a month. In the summer, it's super popular. People love it. So here's the Stagecoach Inn. Our dear friends there at the Stagecoach Inn, Neil's in the audience here. This was Kimber Park. It's just concerts in the park, just out and about in the community. So they're really well received, and it's neat that we're able to partner with the city and do those. And then if you guys remember, and we had some people interested in pickleball around budget time. And so rec pivoted thanks to the newly opened teen center. And, you know, we're making use of those lined courts at the teen center for some additional pickleball space. That's pretty cool. That's happening. July is National Rec and Park Month, and Chuck and Tim went down to the city to have the city recognize us for that. So thank you for that. I just added this picture because I was coming out of Conejo Community Center, looked across, and there was this owl in the tree, and I took it. So how awesome is that? That's just in our developed parks. It was really cool. So then summer is always the summer concerts in the park, and we've had you know, a long tradition of doing that, and great to see all of you guys together doing good stuff for the community. So, you know, 4th of July, of course, is real important, and a good time. Rec this year went ahead and started really digging deep and rolling up their sleeves on how do people actually use our program guide, and is there a, you know, different or alternative way to get information to people? What's the best way to do it? We're going to try something new at the next program guide, right? So they're going into this not just, you know, picking something out of the air. They've actually talked to a lot of people and did their homework trying to look at what to do with that. Mark Reyes, who's sitting in here, again, I think I've told the board this before, that teen summer musical was amazing. The kids, the program, and then I get choked up. It was so good. Live musicians for the thing. It's just unbelievable how good our kids are. And it's thanks to, you know, our cultural unit and stuff. Touch a Truck. Summer camps, you know, Wildwood Camp, so fun. Like, they do such a great job. The what do we call this? Our camp out at Dos Pianos? Family camp? I don't know. What do we call it?
I think it's the Great Camp Out.
Great Camp Out. The Great Camp Out at Dos Pianos. So we introduce people to camping. And then I added this shot because it was a big deal. I mean, to acquire what, 2 miles of coastline along PCH, kind of in our county, and I think right at the county line, near the county line, was a neat thing. And this is a shot of the MRCA board with Assemblymember Irwin and Joe Edmonston. But George, it's neat that George is a part of that organization that, you know, is able to acquire so much open space. I don't know if you guys ever got to see it, but down at the Ventura County Museum of down in Ventura, they actually chose only a handful of organizations or areas to feature, and they chose us when they had an exhibit talking about water. And so they actually were interested because they were really interested in what we're doing to manage our water and water use. So they kind of we're down there at the museum, which was kind of cool. We turfed Page Lane Park. So that, if you guys all remember, we did the ribbon cutting and had no grass, but this is now what it looks like with grass on both sides of the street. Now this is Dos Vientos. More playgrounds later in the year. So Dos Vientos community, and you guys were all there. I was actually wondering how much weight some of those play equipment can handle, because those were really popular. Newbury Gateway. Dang. Yeah, that's Newbury Gateway Park. And that is, obviously, that's a cheat one. Wildflowers right on the sign there. So they did a wildflower theme for the wildflower playground. So if you remember, we got that bunch of state grant money to do a lot of playgrounds. So we did 8 playgrounds this year. We're doing 8, and normally we do 2. So we got a lot of playgrounds in this year. We had a hurricane come through, or at least a lot of rain come through. And the reason I put this slide up is because it's really created 2 springs for us, meaning we had stuff blooming in September and October that only show up in springtime. So it's created an interesting, weed brush management issue. So I think our guys have had to go recut some areas 3 or 4 times this year. So it's great. We're out of the drought. We saved a ton of money on water, but then what happens when you get a lot of rain, all of a sudden your brush clearance costs go through the roof. And then of course we do a great job with Halloween with haunted trails. And then I have a few slides on this new event, the Festival de los Muertos, Dia de los Muertos. The staff that put that together did a just exceptional job. And just to show that even our district attorney is just a regular person and shows up to events. So that's Eric Nazarenko, our DA, who came to the event. And that was the ofrenda, the thing for Dia de los Muertos, and the family that was involved in sponsoring it. It was a really cool event, really neat event. For a first-year event, it's going to grow to be quite a big event, I think, over time. The kids, what do we call this? The kids art, or the kids swap meet, right? The kids swap meet. And so that's some kids have a lot of stuff. And we did a new fall festival for McRae. So that was a new thing that we did at McRae this year. So you guys were all part of that. And then we did our service awards, the board with some longtime staff. There's one of our our staff member who he gets paid in treats around the house, around the office. So
it was in the MRCA meeting.
Yes.
yeah, I guess he went to an MRCA meeting. So anyway, again, Chair Huffers sat over a pretty busy year again, in terms of meetings that had some passion and interest. You got to sit over both that district, the districting, and then the pickleball stuff. So it's been a robust year. So with that, I think this board can be really proud of the year we had, the staff that do all the work. You guys, another good year in the books. So with that, I can answer any questions.
This is our new logo, right?
And
Yeah.
that is our new logo. Yep, our refreshed logo. We stuck a bunny in there.
All right, so do we have any questions for the general manager here? Director Lang.
My question is actually for Rochelle in reference to the teen center and the new amenities and activities, et cetera. Have you taken a survey or has it been observed what of the added new amenities that seem to be the most popular and getting feedback from the teens?
We have not taken a survey. We're still working on getting the kids kind of back in the facility and knowing that it's there, really focusing on our sixth, seventh, and eighth graders and events and stuff. So we are seeing an uptick in kind of the drop-in stuff. But we're doing very well on the programming stuff. And it's just nice to have the outside. It's a great hangout
Yeah.
place. And like you saw, we have the seniors using it also during the day. So our building during the day has basketball and pickleball for the seniors. So it's just being used a lot more outside than what it was when it was just dirt or
Mhm.
skate ramp.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Director Cusworth.
This isn't really a question, but interestingly, today I was looking at the internet and it was talking about the most hits on the English-speaking Wikipedia. So I guess they have Spanish-speaking Wikipedia, Mandarin Wikipedia. I never knew that. Anyway, so I thought you would be interested that the third most hits for all of the world in English was for the Cricket World Cup. That came in the third highest. The fourth highest was the Indian Premier League, which is also cricket. And then they also had like another in the top 25 that you're getting the most hits for cricket. And I thought, well, for all of Ventura County, we were the innovators for putting in a cricket pitch, which is obviously a very popular sport. No hits in the top 25 for baseball. But cricket was there very high. I was just surprised. So, or pickleball or tennis, it was cricket dominated it. So I thought, well, it's very popular, obviously, in some parts of this world, and we kind of brought a little bit of it here. I think it shows that our innovation and our willing to meet the needs of people who come to us and say, hey, how about us? We're going, we'll work with you. So.
Sure. Can I quick peek?
No, Director Nichols first. Director Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
In a minute, you can.
Okay.
I just wanted to take this time as I look through that, and I feel exhausted just, watching it. And I didn't attend but a portion of those. And yet I know that, especially since so much is the recreation side with Rochelle leading the charge on that, and then the parks and planning with Andrew, and our non-pictorial group in administration. And I know this is just a day in and day out routine where you're just trying to keep the next thing going. So just kudos to our senior staff, our leader, administrators, but also the entire staff, just for providing these types of opportunities. I mean, it's a good reminder. We just see things one at a time, what's right in front of us right now. But when you see everything together, it's like, wow, what a great, like I said, feast of opportunities. And you were just kind of highlighting the day in and day out. I mean, the special events, not the day in and day out types of things. So you put all that together. We've got a great organization. And again, thank you to you, our general manager, and the whole team for just making sure that the organization runs smoothly each and every day. So thank you very much.
Now, Director Lang.
Okay, I was going to piggyback on Director Cusworth's topic of cricket. And as was noted, I was the only board member there. And I don't know if that was, pardon?
You're the only one there on time.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Anyway, I have been involved, as you would know, in many sports organizations and groups, refed and coached and children participating. But that cricket group, and I was there quite a while, even before the official time, that cricket group, even the wives of the males that were involved and so forth, just were so outgoing and friendly. They really appreciated what we did as a district. And I know our staff worked hard to facilitate that pitch over there at Pepper Tree. But I hope that we in the future can continue to enhance our relationship, and who knows where we could go. And because if it's got the popularity as Director Cuthbert talked about worldwide, we might, have something here, to really popularize cricket for Ventura County.
Jim, thank you for the review. I always enjoy looking at and then hearing the year in review, from day to day, week to week, between meetings, okay, we did this, we did that, it wasn't all that busy. Then you look at just the highlights, as Director Nichols said, and the fact that so much is done, just the highlighted, and then all the other things going on, and getting all that accomplished with, the small number of full-time and then somewhat larger number of part-time employees that we have. What the district gets done is pretty incredible with the staff that we have. And personally, I think the management services is really the most exciting of the three divisions. So don't let Jim say anything to the difference, anything to the contrary. So anyway, thank you for the presentation, and thank you to all of your staff for what they do to make all of this possible every year.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 7, the consent calendar. We're going to deal first with items 7A and B, approval of minutes and approval of warrants. I'll entertain a motion on those two items. From someone, Director Cuthbert, we have a motion. Can I get a?
So I make a motion that we approve A and B in the consent calendar.
Thank you. I think we have a second. Any discussion or questions on A or B? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Then move on to 7C, the resolution regarding more than 5 meetings per month. I believe you're going to handle that, Mr. Friedel.
Sure. This is a resolution that the board has adopted probably for the last 4 or 5 years. It is because a state law recognizes that some districts have a lot going on and may have a need to have more than the 5 meetings per month. So the legislature said in 2018 that if you adopt findings and determine there's a need for more than 5 meetings per month, you can have 6 meetings, up to 6. So what that really means is, you're able to then be compensated for up to 6 meetings. And we do have leeway on describing what those meetings are. So it's not just sitting here in a boardroom. There is so many other things that all of you are part of and need to see, all the different assets or facets of what the Park District does. It helps us when you as board members go out, get engaged, learn about, and come back and share with us what your experiences are out in the field. So this resolution is meant to sort of capture the findings of why we're so busy and need to meet more than 6 times a month. I did have a discussion with Director Nichols, and he did point out that we do participate in regional, state, and national organizations that focus on rec, park, and open space, and we should probably capture those kinds of activities as well. So I would propose that in line item 3, this is on page 45. On 3, it says, while overseeing a large and diverse recreation and park district, a board member has the opportunity and invitation to attend many meetings, conferences, seminars, ceremonial events, special events, and activities. And then I would add a clause there that says, as well as regional, state, and national organizational meetings focused on recreation, park, and open space. Then it goes on to say to increase their awareness and understanding of the district, patron, staff, facilities, operations, and partner organizations. So it's just meant to cast a wider net in terms of where you guys get involved. And I apologize, Director Nichols, if I took your idea there and ran with it, but
I second your motion.
Wait a minute. Where's Roberts when you need him? Did you have any additional comments, Dr. Nichols?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just thank you for hearing me out to the general manager. We met a couple days ago, and I just felt it was important. There was no impetus for doing this other than I was reading through that and I says, yeah, this captures a lot, but it doesn't capture it all. I thought it was important because, as even with Director Lang's involvement in MRCA, which we are a partner organization, but it really casts a broad regional impact on his role in particular in MRCA, and with our other activities with the Ventura County Special Districts Association also being regional. I just thought it was important to capture that and to document that we were involved regionally, statewide, and even national to some degree with our activities. And all those do in fact benefit us as individuals, but also the district as a whole. And I thought it was important to include that. That was it. Thank you.
Yes, Director Cusworth.
I think that the wording that Mr. Frito put in there is fine, but I'm just wondering if partner organizations are talking about our local, state, and national organizations that we belong to, and if it would be better, since we already have the partner organizations there, to say including local, state, and national organizations. That, I mean, it just goes along there with the partner organizations, because isn't that what our partner organizations are?
Yeah, as a teacher, I think you might have a good point there, moving the clause.
Well, not just
modify
as a
that.
teacher, but as a very astute board member.
Oh, yeah. No, yes, actually, it would probably be even clearer there. Sure.
Well, I was just saying, when I saw the partner organizations, it seems like those are our partner organizations, the, CARPD, all of those that have Cs, As, Ps, Ds, and As that I can't remember the orders that they're in. And then also, the national organizations, all of them are our partner organizations. So I think if you just put including,
Mhm.
the,
Regional state. Yep.
yeah. If that's okay.
Okay, so do you have some fairly clear guidance as to how that would be modified?
If someone were going to make a motion, I would suggest that at the end of partner organizations in line 3, that we have a clause that modifies partner organizations to say including but not limited to regional, state, and national organizations focused on recreation, parks, and open space.
Thank you. So with that clarification, Director Cusworth, would you care to make a motion on item 7C?
Yes, I believe that are we going for the whole resolution thing on this?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to say that we should adopt resolution 12723-A, including the modifications that were made to number 3 in the resolution, and that it be read in title only and all future readings be waived.
I'm
Very
happy to
good.
second that.
And we have a second.
Very good.
Madam Secretary, could we have the resolution read, please?
Resolution 120723-A, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Conejo Recreation and Park District adopting findings and determining need for more than 5 meetings per month.
Thank you very much. We have a motion, second, and a reading. Any further questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 8, deferred matters. I don't believe we have any. Item 9, items for discussion. I don't believe we have any. New items, number 10. 10A, selection of chair and vice chair. Mr. Friedel, would you like to introduce this?
Sure, I'll introduce it. Generally, I'm not part of this, but every year at this time, we do select a chair and vice chair. So this is completely within your board's prerogative as to who is going to be the next chair and vice chair. And for the board's edification, starting on page 50, we have a long history dating back to the district's foundings of the board and the different chairs and vice chairs over the years. So if that helps with your deliberations, we have that there for you.
Thank you very much. At this point, I will, Director Nichols.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Having read through that long list of our origin of directors and the rotation thereof, trying to stick with the unwritten rule and tradition of how we proceed, I would like to move that we have our director, George Lang, move up from vice chair to chair for the year 2024.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Can I get a second? Director Cuthbert.
Director, okay, yes.
Okay, any comments or discussion? I guess we do need to confirm that Director Lang, you'd be willing to serve if selected.
Definitely more than willing to serve. It's an honor. And having the opportunity to represent the quality of staff and the whole district is way beyond, you know, what normally you can do in your community. So it'd be my pleasure and honor.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So we have a motion of second, to select Director George Lang as the chair for 2024. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And as the gavel is passed, new Chair Lang, might I present a little something for our outgoing chair?
Oh, I definitely think we should do that.
So you guys know every year there is this tradition of passing it on. So Chuck did a great job this year. I think you'll all agree. The year in review is much recognizing this entire board and the leader of the board of all the things that they've accomplished. So, you've got your longstanding training and background as a AYSO ref. And being a ref, I think is perfect training to be a board chair. And not so much for your colleagues, but when you get those, very heated in a lot of public interest items like pickleball and like districting and all that kind of stuff. And, you've been a great chair to work with and have, we've run some good and some long meetings this year. And you've done a lot. So in recognition of that, it is back here. The chair should have a brand new chair for their time in the park. So I don't know if this is going to be captured, but here, this is your chair.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a great chair
Nice.
for the park. So
Wow.
Hey,
Wow,
there
that's
you
all
go.
right.
It's
Fancy.
new.
very nice.
Oh, it's even got a place for my drinks and everything.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So anyway, that's from your fellow colleagues on the board and staff. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Yeah, just I want to thank all my fellow board members for making this year so maybe not easy, but certainly very doable. There have been a few challenges, but 99% of the time we get through the challenges. We've, as Jim pointed out in the year in review, a lot was accomplished just in the last 12 months, and it's because of the board and most importantly, the staff that the board hopefully supports. So I'm grateful for the recognition, and I'm glad to have turned it over to Director Lang so that he can start attending even more meetings than he normally attends. So thank you all very much. I do appreciate it.
You are more than welcome. And at this time, I'm going to ask other board members to make comments, and Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Chair Lang. Chuck, as a friend and I've known you for many years, but also as a director, this was your second go around as chair that I've been had the pleasure of watching you guide us. And while I thought you did a great job the first time, I must say, I think you picked it up a notch this year. We had a lot of challenges. You provide some excellent guidance and some forethought, as to some of the challenges that we had. You obviously were mulling these things around, some of the critical issues, and try to put a little plan together and guide us through that. So I just want to thank you not only for your leadership, but your foresight and trying to identify those things that we really need to spend some time on. And I think you did a great job. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Director Cuthbert.
Yes, I have really enjoyed working with you. I have felt a lot of camaraderie in working with you and with your viewpoints and your dedication and just all the experience that you've had through the years with Parks and Rec, with open space, with Casca, of course, with soccer, and that you've brought that experience here to our board and to CRPD in general. I mean, we've highly benefited from your leadership, not just when you've been the chair, but also just all the years that you've been a director. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Kessler, Director Buss.
Wow, I didn't know I got to like say a few words about you tonight. This is exciting. Yeah, so being the newbie on the board, I have to say that I really do appreciate your leadership throughout the year, and you have just such a cool, calm presence about you that has been really great, especially when, you know, my first meeting was like a map meeting and there's people here actually. So I appreciated you setting a tone through the meetings that really made everyone feel supported, and for being patient with me, and one day I will do the resolution, I promise. But I really just loved having you as the chair, and I'm looking forward to you as well. But yeah, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Chuck and I have known each other many, many years, and as mentioned, served together on the CRP board. And it does take a team effort, you know, on board members to make things happen and to get the rhythm going, the thoughts coordinated, both parties, all parties, realizing the importance of what decisions we make for our whole community. And we all know we live in a great community, and part of the contribution to the greatness is the Conejo Recreation and Park District and all those involved. And Chuck has continually emphasized the importance of working together. He solicits information from all of us, you know, on particular items and so forth. And I would agree with you, Director Nichols. I think you did pick it up a notch or two. You just seemed more comfortable, more in control, more communicative, if that's a good word, with all of us and the different items. And as you know, we live in the same district now, neighborhood. So things will be changing in one way or another. But Chuck is a special person in my life, not only because of our relationship. My wife had his daughter, I think it was Robin, in kindergarten. I was soccer coach before I even knew what soccer was. Wouldn't have had a team if I didn't stand up or, you know, become the coach and referee and so forth. So I've known Chuck for many years, and his dedication to as was previously mentioned, dedication to the sport of soccer in our community is just phenomenal. If you don't know, we've got one of the best soccer organizations in Ventura County, and what much of that is due to Chuck and his fellow AYSO people. So again, it's an honor to work with you and to have you contribute with your thinking and make CRPD a great organization. So thank you and God bless.
Thank you, George.
Well, now that I'm gonna just
You're the chair.
I'm gonna totally blush.
Okay,
So,
good.
No, he's got
Yeah.
to make some comments.
Oh, yep, okay.
no, I just, I really do appreciate what you all said this evening. It's, you know, I enjoy various community organizations, but Park District has for years and years been my favorite organization, and working with you folks and the feedback, not just tonight, but throughout the year is really appreciated. So thank you.
Okay, very good. that concludes our item number, s-
We're sort of
get
halfway
there.
through it. We got to do the vice chair.
right. That's right, that's still on the same item. Okay, we're going on to continue with item 10A in the selection of the vice chair and Director Buss.
I'd like to make a nomination for Director Doug Nichols to be the vice chair for this coming year.
Very well. I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to select Director Nichols as the vice chair in this 2024 year, and be my honor to have him as my vice chair. Any other nominations? Discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none. That motion passes. Congratulations, Doug.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to my fellow directors here. Appreciate your support.
Okay, we're now moving on to item 10B, amendment number 1, the management agreement with the Conejo Valley Historical Society and at Stagecoach Inn Museum. Staff, please.
Thank you, Chair Lang. Thank you,
Director
Phil.
chair.
And members of the board. As you're aware, the district and Conejo Valley Historical Society has had a long-standing agreement, actually since 1973. We've partnered with the Historical Society to be able to provide the museum facilities at the Stagecoach Inn property, and the Historical Society actually has an agreement that went into effect, a management agreement that went into effect January 1st of 2016. And we are looking to extend that agreement an additional 5 years with a 5-year option. The Historical Society has been a great partner over the years, being able to provide historical, educational, and cultural significance programming and events at the property. They're a constant applicant for a grant or CIP grant program. Staff, we actually have a caretaker on the property that we work closely with them as well via that staff member. As well as just day-to-day operations, making sure the buildings are in good shape, making sure the grounds are kept in partnership with the Historical Society. Also want to point out President Neil Scribner has patiently been with us tonight. So he's here tonight. So I can answer any questions and Neil can fill in any blanks. And if Neil would like to say a few words, you're welcome to, or you can wait for some questions. So.
I would like, Neil, if you wouldn't mind going up to the podium. Yeah. Rick. And say whatever you want, but I would like to hear and have you share with the board some of the things that you guys are planning for in the future to improve the Stagecoach Inn and the programs, et cetera.
Thank you very much. I didn't prepare anything to find out. Planning for the future is very interesting at the museum because we never know when someone's going to walk in with some sort of collection of artifacts from the past. So, for instance, the blacksmith shop, it's one of our newer structures. From the family, from the equipment. And so we were able to build the shop with help in part. And that's how it happens. It's a great exhibit and it just comes out of the blue. You just never know. I like to think that we need to do a little bit of preparation. I think we've lost some exhibits from people that have taken a look and said, well, we don't have space now. I don't want to give it that tent. So we are looking at trying to clear some space. So if someone comes in with something important, we'll have someone to naturally find charge of the future, trying to create specific space. With that would be a patio, that we don't have to go to. And it's very popular with lots of buildings. given the presentation, and so we talked about kind of things. So, with that, you may have support.
I was gonna make a quick comment and then I'll ask the fellow board members. Mentioning the black shop, black shop. Isn't there a little history about the wood that was used to construct that?
Well, this is, this very interesting. This is an architect, drawing through. Right.
Mhm. And you heard that Mr. Scribner mentioned Jim Gilmore, and some of you may know that Jim Gilmore was sitting over there in Andrew's spot for many years. And he continued to stay involved in the community and with the Historical Society and a number of other things. So Andrew, if you retire from CRPD in the future, there's a lot of organizations out there that would appreciate your help. Okay, any other board members have any comments or questions? Yes, Director Cusworth.
Well, you knew I'd have some comments. So, you know, he's talking about us moving forward. One of the ways that the Stagecoach Inn can move forward is when you have an excellent leader, and Neil has been implementing a lot of wonderful programs, getting sponsors for us. It's been talked about for a long time. He was the one that redid the sign on the freeway, so it doesn't just say Stagecoach Inn and people thought it was a hotel. That's highly increased, so it has a whole new sign, which he had to fight with Caltrans for what, 2 years or more? Yeah, at least a year. I kept thinking, oh, forget it, man, but he just kept pursuing this to get that done. And we started getting, you know, much more participation from people seeing the sign, and would say, why didn't you come? Well, I saw the sign. Said you have a blacksmith shop and you have all of these different things. And so he's been really good in that and in being a leader through a lot of tumultuous times. And I think last year when he first started out, he said, I'm just going to be this for 1 year, find somebody else, I'm out of here. But he has stayed on, and as I think that we're doing as well or better than we ever have. And one other thing on that wood that you found, I mean, you probably knew this, but those Dos Vientos barns are a historic landmark. They are a Ventura County historic landmark. And they dismantled them and put them over there. So I was talking to William Maple the other day, who's very into historic preservation. And we've been talking about, you know, doing some stuff. And I said, do you think we should take that barnwood off from being historically preserved? I mean, they took down the barns and it's just a pile of wood. But then I thought, this was just like yesterday or the day before, I go, wait a minute. We've got that wood in that blacksmith shop. So it is, we kind of have two historical landmarks on the Stagecoach Inn, the museum itself, and also that blacksmith shop is used with wood that is a designated historic landmark. So, I mean, that's very, very exciting. And just in the last year, as he said, through CRPD, we replaced our back patio, which we can use for space for people to rent. Through one of their contractors, we did the Jungle Land patio. And then through Neil, we have that beautiful, is it a pergola? What do you call that? Trellis, the trellis that he designed and put up. That's another space that we're using. So things are happening there. It's though it's a historical museum, which you think everything's from the past, we're moving into the future, and a lot because of Neil's direction, and also with the partnership of CRPD. We would not be able to manage without the partnership of CRPD. It would not happen. So I think that I can speak for Neil and everybody else. We're very appreciative to have this this partnership continue.
Thank you. Yes, Director Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Neil, thank you for taking the reins with the museum. It's a great partnership for us. I know the museum and the Historical Society often, thinks that we're the ones that need all the credit, but I always say, no, you're doing all the work, It's a partnership, yes, but the organization is just doing the work, and as a leader, you kind of provide that, however you want to phrase it, leadership or guidance or ideas to kind of move things forward, one step at a time. But I just reflecting the last time I was there for an event, most people there got gray hair, and it's just like, how do we continue to get our history and our legacy pushed down? Well, it's through the programs that you offer, whether it be with the kids coming through or the families, whatever it is. And if not for that, a lot of our legacy and our history of this local area would just, vanish. So, please extend my thanks, our thanks to the board, to your team over there for keeping things going. Look forward to more than 5 years, but we'll take the 5 that we get here. And I do have a suggestion for Director Cusworth and another driving tour, and that would be all the buildings in the Conejo Valley and the city of Thousand Oaks that Neil Scribner has designed. And you can probably just go every block around this town, and he's got his thumbprint on it. So thank you for your legacy as well.
I think we could do another driving tour on that, Neil. We'll talk about it. We were just at the Ascension Lutheran Church and found out that he designed that building specifically for concerts. And we've enjoyed many concerts there with that great acoustics, so.
Mhm.
You're the conductor. You do a lot over there. Yes, Director Huffer.
Yeah, Neil, that you just mentioned the volunteers. I mean, throughout our community, we have examples of dozens and hundreds of volunteers helping dozens and hundreds of organizations, but the number of volunteers that you have, and what I've been impressed by is it seems like every year you have 5 or 10 or 15 new programs, new events going on at the Stagecoach Inn. And whether it's local people who are attending these events or friends or family who are visiting from out of town, and my 7-year-old and 4-year-old grandchildren were visiting a few months ago, and they just absolutely loved the exhibits at the Stagecoach Inn. And I had a hard time dragging them away from the gold panning exhibit that you had there, but it's such a wonderful facility. And as pointed out, it'd be nice to have it something even longer than 5 years, but certainly to be able to extend this agreement for another 5 years, I think is absolutely terrific. So thanks for what you and all your volunteers do.
Director Bush, you have any comments?
Neil, I'd like to know when you're coming back to Rotary. I said I'd like to know when you're coming back to Rotary. Just messing with you. I know. Oh, good. Oh, good. Good. Perfect. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
I have a question, and you might have even been involved, Neil. For years, there was a leaky basement over there, a lot of water issues. Now, has that been totally remedied, and did you get involved in any of the design? Is that true, Andrew? No leaks and seeping water?
Yeah, it's been in good shape, especially after the wet winter we just had, so.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the added information and your continued work as a volunteer and as the president of the Historical Society. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we need a motion on item 10B. Director Kessler?
I recommend that we authorize the general manager to enter into Amendment 1 to the management agreement with the Conejo Valley Historical Society.
And we have a second by Director Buss. Any other comments or questions, thoughts come to mind? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, hearing none, that motion will pass. We're moving on to 10C, proposed amendment in it to fully restate employment agreement with the district's general manager. Mr. General Manager.
Yeah, I'll just turn it over to Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Chair and Jim and Board. So tonight we have the proposed amendment to and fully restated employment agreement with the district's general manager. So the recommendation is to approve the amendment to and fully restated employment agreement between Conejo Recreation and Park District and general manager, adjusting the annual base salary by 10% from $235,347.68 to $258,882.44. That's a total increase of $23,000, $534.76. In addition, there's a increase in the annual vision benefit to $300. We clarified the amount of the district's deferred compensation contribution and allow the general manager to allocate the contribution to either a 457 or a 401A deferred compensation plan. This increase is comparable to the 6 and 4 adjustments to the regular CRPD employees, as well as the $300 vision benefit. The 401A option is a recommendation from our 457 investment advisors. And then the clarification on the deferred compensation amount is to make it based on a percentage of the IRS cap. You also were all given a clean version of this in addition to the red line that was included in the packet. That clean version addressed mostly typos and minor corrections in fonts and formatting. But the one item that I do want to clarify for the record is an attachment 2, where we clarify that the minimum amount of the deferred compensation is $7,680. Or the 33% of that limit. So we want to add the words whichever is greater in that deferred compensation section of attachment 2. And with that, I'm available for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Any comments or questions? Yes.
I have a question. So we talked about that we were going to be changing the job description for the general manager. Is that something that should be stated in this? What is this called?
Amendment?
So in this contract,
this-
no,
in
we're
this
not looking for
recommendation?
that at this time. We'll be
Okay.
doing that when we do the, all the job descriptions together as an adoption of the class and comp that's underway.
So that will have nothing to do with the contract that we're voting on.
Correct. When we do, implement the job descriptions, we'll probably add, an amendment to have that included in this.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Sure.
Okay, no, Director Huffer.
Yes, I'd like to move that we approve the proposed amendment to and fully restated employment agreement with the district's general manager.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Director Nichols. If we have a motion and a second, any other comments or questions come to mind? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, hearing none, that motion will pass. We're moving on to item 11, reports and announcements, A through C. Is there any particular announcement topic you would like to make comments on? Just as always, going through the recreation division report, it's always exciting to see the programs and so forth that are taking place. And okay, we're moving on to department reports. 12A, Parks Division, Andrew.
Thank you, Chair Lang. Real quick, last playground, Conejo Creek North, we're looking to finish half of it. That's two different playgrounds. There's a 2 to 5 age group and a 5 to 12. We're looking to finish half of it hopefully before the holiday break. And then early January, if not sooner, we're looking to finish the other half. So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be wrapped up there. And then we still have to kind of figure out scheduling and stuff, but we are looking to do a ribbon cutting event since that is a district-wide playground and the largest playground of the 8 that we've worked on this past year. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So work is moving along and we're almost there. So, and I'm available for questions.
Any questions or comments for Andrew? In reference to, the new equipment that's going in as a replacement, and I know it's there for a number of weeks and so forth before it's actually added or built. Do we ever have any issues with vandalism?
We always have issues with construction, just, being a public open property. People tampering and such. Typically, those pieces of equipment are quite large. We do have construction fencing and such. In my time with the district, I've never had any issues with any stolen major issue with equipment or, vandalism or destruction of property during construction. So
Great.
we've been pretty fortunate with that over my time, at least with the district.
Yeah, that's good news. I've seen it. I've been there a couple times and seeing the equipment behind the fencing. And it's just wondering, how tempting that is for various people, unfortunately. Okay. We're ready to move on to Recreation Division.
Thank you, Chair
Rochelle?
Lang and members of the board. Just a couple of things. A reminder, the rec van is out this weekend. Russell Park at 1 o'clock and Lang Ranch Park at 2:30. Jingle Bell Hike is on Saturday. Safe Passage events you guys should have on your calendars. They are still looking for donations for the teen gifts. They're giving $25 gift cards out. So Play Conejo is taking donations and you just designate it in the comments that you want it to go to the teens. And Kurt's going to be getting those gifts on Tuesday. So if you have any friends or know anyone who wants to make a donation, that is still being done. Winter camps are coming soon. Don't forget Dana's retirement gathering is next week. And then since it was the year-end review, I put together a little report that I believe is in your packet. My team has done a lot of work this year. I'm super, super proud of them and everything that they've been able to accomplish at their centers and in their different programming. And so I just gave you a little snapshot of the things that they've done, some of the things that they've done throughout the year. And that's usually something I do in my department for them so that they understand the strategic plan and they understand what they're doing does impact our bigger picture. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Rochelle. We have any questions? Yes, Director Huffer.
Yeah, Rochelle, if we wanted to donate something for the teens, is that on the website or?
Yeah, you can go to our website, click Play Conejo, make a donation. When you're filling out the information, you'll want to click the Santa donation in the dropdown, and in the comments, put gifts for Safe Passage Teen Program.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, Director Cuthbert.
So I had a similar question. So if I wanted to donate to anything within, Conejo Rec and Park, can I just put that in the comment section?
Yeah, there's a
Through
drop.
Play- Through Play Conejo?
Yeah.
Even if it's not on the drop down?
Yeah,
I can
if
just
you
put
want to
it-
designate it to something, you can write it in the in the comments.
Okay, thank you. Oh,
Okay,
I had another question.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
When is Dana's last day? Again, I have picked a vacation where I think they have an activity every day, like when my grandson was born. So I'm going to, not be here, but I want to, send something to the office. So when is her last day?
Her last day is supposed to be December 30th.
30th? Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, good report. Thanks. Moving on to item 12C, Management Services Division, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Chair and Directors. I have no report, but I am available for questions.
Okay, any questions for Management Services Division? If not, General Manager's report.
Yes, Chair Lang and members of the board, I just want to express my gratitude and appreciation to each one of you for letting me stick around and do a job I love with people I love. I can't do what I do without Aline Reinders, Melissa Smith, Rochelle Callis, and Andrew Mooney, the team that make things happen here. They're special people that are professionals, top notch in their field. And so it's just it's a CRPD is a great place to be. We work on really important stuff, essential stuff, I think, to make this community livable. So it's just a really fulfilling job. And again, just appreciate the opportunity. So, and I guess with that, just remind everyone to have a wonderful Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy holidays and all that kind of stuff, because we won't have a meeting after this until the next year.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
And you know how much we appreciate your efforts, and we hope that we've been able to communicate that in reference to the employment agreement. We feel very fortunate to have you too. I'm glad you left the city and to come to the better of the agencies in the Conejo. Any comments or questions for the general manager? Okay, we're moving on to item 12E, Director's Reports and Follow-up Reports on Meetings, Conferences Attended. Start down at the other end, Director Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a quick review of the period since our last board meeting, I did attend the Conejo Open Space Foundation holiday party in this very room on December 1st, and was able to spend some time with Nellie and her husband. We had a little bidding war going on for a guitar, and she finally
Spend another $30.
she finally outbid me.
Well, he didn't want it.
I wanted it, my wife didn't want it. And let's see, on December 5th, had a meeting with the general manager, and then also attended a city council meeting that evening. And, it was a lot of entertainment for not having to pay anything to go to the forum that night, but it was very entertaining. And it was just nice to see the engagement in our community. I mean, there was a full house. There was a couple hundred people there, I imagine. Obviously you get an issue that people are concerned about. They want to voice their opinions, but it was a very, very cordial group, no disruptions. And again, just made me again proud to be in the community that I live in, just to see how people can, I don't know if you'd call it a disagreement, but have different opinions and yet still walk out the door and be friends. And so it's just a good reminder of even those types of things that can be critical for us. We still have friends in this community that we can rely on. So it was a good experience. I'm glad I was there, and our general manager was there as well. So that was it for my last couple of weeks.
Thank you. Director Kessworth.
Yes, interestingly, when Director Nichols said that the cost of dinner was in this very room, I thought, well, yeah, it was, but it looked a lot different. It's amazing how versatile the room can be. And so I thought it was interesting because for their speaker, they always have a speaker. They had a member of the Audubon Society, but he wasn't talking about birds. He was talking about drought tolerant landscape. So I guess that benefits the birds, it benefits open space. It was really very interesting. And then I was at the VCSDA meeting, and they were talking about energy conservation. So did you get my text that I sent about that? So I don't know this person. The only reason I was interested is it said that they had worked with the city of Thousand Oaks. It's called Site Logic. So Mr. Mooney, have we ever had anybody come out to see if we could be more energy efficient, or is that something that we would really be interested in at all?
Yeah, so we've had a couple vendors reach out to us, and we have had review of our facilities. And so currently those systems weren't like economically feasible to make those type of changes. But any new improvement, like if we're rebuilding Conejo Community Center, right? Or if we're doing an expansion, we always take energy consumption into consideration, whether it's windows, doors, the type of light bulbs and light fixtures we're using, that type of thing. Something bigger picture too, like our sports lighting, right? Lots of power, lots of light. We are still not there yet from a cost saving standpoint to switch completely over to LED. However, any new court facility or any new field facility that we would like the skate park coming up in construction this next fiscal year, we would be doing LEDs. So that's kind of the steps and mechanisms that staff takes as we kind of transition to new technologies. But to do a complete overhaul, it wouldn't make sense economically. We've been switching over fixtures and such as we replace things, which is obviously a big use of it. Same thing with like HVAC systems, just like we recently have done some work at the Chumash Museum, that type of work. So when we do renovations, we take that into consideration. So
I know you've talked about that a lot. It's just, it did pique my interest when he was talking about what measures we are taking here. So thank you for, addressing that again. I appreciate it. And just real briefly, we all know that there's someone in the room who never says a word unless we ask her to read a resolution, and that which this organization could not manage without. So thank you so much, Aline. Quietly sitting there behind your computer and but basically kind of organizing so much of everything that we do. And so I just want to have a shout out to you for the end of the year here for all that you do. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Aline. Director Huffer.
Just a couple of things that other board members have talked about. I was briefly at the Open Space Foundation party. I had another thing I had to get to that same night, so I couldn't stick around for the speaker, but it is amazing what they do with this room. So so that was, and it is nice to see all the people. I did want to thank Director Nichols for attending the city council meeting. I see Councilmember Engler every week, and after the meeting, he said he really appreciated the comments that you made on behalf of the Park District. So thank you for doing that. I do appreciate it. And then I also was at the Ventura County Special Districts Association meeting, and that was actually a really good dinner they had there with the turkey and.
I wanted to take home. I was going to say there's so much left over.
I know there was a lot of dinner. Remember my Christmas dinner all set. So, yeah. And then I meant to thank Rochelle for giving us the monthly calendar. That's very helpful. And I will admit I did actually sign up for an event, since I'm going to be spending Christmas holidays in rather chilly and damp and wet Seattle. I figured I'd feel right at home coming back at the polar bear plunge, so
I'm gonna come watch you do it.
that's my report.
Thank you, Director Huffer. Director Buss.
Okay, so on Tuesday, I was a little busy. We had the Conejo Youth and Family Coalition meeting, which was great. And the Community Action nonprofit spoke, and it was really informative. So I did not know much about their nonprofit, but they do utility assistance for anybody. So if you know it, for seniors and for low income. So that's a great one. And then I also went to the city council meeting for the general plan and watched all that. And they get a lot more people than we do, that's for sure.
More controversial too.
Yeah, I did ask Chief Paris if he would come and do security for us here, because I was thinking we might need it, but I think we've got it handled. Yeah, and then we had the Finance and Audit Committee meeting on the 17th. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's been really a pleasure this whole year getting to know each one of you individually, and you really made me feel at home. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And yes, Director Huffer.
I did have one thing I forgot to mention, that it's related to CRPD, but the tax program had their organizational meeting a couple of days ago, and hopefully most or all of them show up, but we had 31 people who showed up for the initial meeting to help as tax preparers. So they'll all get trained in January, and come first part of February, we'll be doing taxes again. So let people know that it's free and it's a good tax program.
You know that. Got a good reputation. Director Nichols.
Yeah, since you're chair, I thought I'd start taking over the role of having a second thought after I said.
You can do it as often as you want. My mind is a little slow these years. So.
Well, actually, Director Buss reminded me when she talked about community action. Last Thursday, I was up there with the staff. Supervisor Gorell was there for a tour, and they asked me to come and join him for that. And one of his, we took the tour of the whole facility, which I hadn't been on yet, even though I've been up there a couple of times. But what was interesting is we were talking about the various communities that he's involved in his district. And he said, "Do you folks ever get involved with Safe Passage?" And there's, and the director says, "Well, yeah, a little bit, you know," and it's just like, they didn't quite fully know about Safe Passage, just like I didn't fully know about community assistance. And, you know, here are some, you know, great organizations, not fully serving the same clientele, but often they are. And I just said, okay, we're going to have to, you know, kind of get these things together and find out some commonality. And I know there's a lot of organizations around our community and also throughout our county that if they just kind of, you know, get together, then the efficiencies just expand. And so just, you know, and he's very supportive of that. And so I'm looking forward to, you know, maybe plugging some things his way and seeing if we can get some funding from his level as well to do some more of these programs. See what happens.
That's a good contact. Jeff Gorell is also on the Conservancy Board. So I get to see him once a month in that regard. Okay. I was thinking of this when we were addressing the resolution about adding the 6th meeting, and knowing all of us and my, in particular, number of meetings I attend, you know, this month was 10, and twice I've had 19, and I probably average 12 to 13 meetings a month. So when I see the resolution just to add it up, make it 6, and I says, boy, we've got a great district here that all of us contribute a lot to in our extra efforts. And I'm just going to report on one organization, and you can probably imagine what that is MRCA. Based on the state's financial situation and all of the monies that had been earmarked for MRCA projects, and knowing that they were going to, the state was going to take back the funds. Yesterday, we had a 3.5 hour plus meeting, and it ended up like at 1:15, something like that. I got a call from Joe Edmonston about a half hour later. He said they just got the official letter, Melissa probably knows about this, that no more funds will be given by the state. So we just got it all approved, just under the wire. We had 29 items on the consent calendar. We had, I think 13, no, I can't remember the number of regular discussion items. And just in general, in fact, Rory Skay and I were in the rec conference room last week, or the week before, I can't remember, it all comes together, signing 19 grant applications and so forth. So a lot of work. I've never had this much work, concentrated in this short amount of time since I've been involved with MRCA, but it was well worth it. And like General Manager mentioned, we were able to get $1 million here for CRPD in the fire resiliency. So anyway, everybody working together, doing a great job, pays off. So keep up the good work and keep attending meetings. Okay, that concludes our department reports. We're moving on to item 13, requests for status reports and items for subsequent agendas. Anybody have any items they'd like to bring up in the future related to CRPD? If not, item 14, items from the public. Any public online? Oh, what a surprise. Okay, we're going to conclude with our item 15, the adjournment. And I'd like to adjourn in the spirit of the holidays of Christmas and the New Year. And I hope you all enjoy your personal celebrations and experiences and love everybody. That's important.
And it's the first night of Hanukkah.
And it's the first night of Hanukkah.
Yep. Gotta go home and like that.
Okay, with that, we're adjourned.